All right, let's begin. So, hope my hair is not too messy today. Welcome to those who are going to join me or who have joined already. Welcome everyone. So today it's going to be more of a discussion panel more than an actual live like the usual, because I want to actually hear more from you today, and I think it's going to be more of an exchange of topic. Like I like to have participation. Welcome M. Duvaux, Georges Broussali, and Damien. Welcome Nicolas, welcome Sébastien. Don't forget to write in the comment section your favorite romance manga, like your favorite love story in any manga it can be. Welcome Christian. So yeah, I want to see like what do you guys consider to be like the best romance story. I want to know your taste. Welcome Ash. Don't forget to comment your favorite romance stories too. Welcome Nathan. So yeah, we're gonna proceed very simply. First, I'm going to explain like the different types of romance stories that I actually know of. Like I cannot possibly know everything about manga, so and then I'm going to explain like how they are actually very similar in the way they build their story, and we're going to, especially for those who likes to write fan fiction and who likes to maybe start their own romance manga. I think it's going to be very fun. Welcome Alexi. Don't forget to comment your favorite romance story in the comment section. Welcome Alexi. Okay, now so it's going to be I have a first answer. Thank you Isabel. Blue Haru right. Welcome Isabel, by the way. So everyone else, I will invite you to like also comment in the comment section and tell me like your favorite romance manga. Yeah, actually I did not watch Blue Haru Ride. I'm sorry, but it looks really fun. Girlfriends is a really good Yuri, and Votakoi is awesome too. Yeah, I heard about Votakoi. I think it's the kind of manga that breaks a lot of stereotypes in Japan about otaku. Girlfriends, I do not know that one. But welcome Julien, by the way. So yeah, if let's start with the genres. Okay, so here is how I would like to proceed. Like I would say that shoujo manga is probably the main big type. Okay, shoujo manga, and then we have like magical girl shoujo, and then we have like more slice of life. I mean, usually slice of life when it comes to romance addresses like a female audience, and then we have the male version of those stuff that we can call the harem genre, and then we have yaoi, yuri, and all those stuff. Oh, okay, Damien. Welcome, Alexandre Morissette. Welcome, Nathan. So, Saikano is your favorite. I think Saikano is really great. I'm not sure how much of romance it actually gives, because I've watched like season 1 of the anime, and I did not think that there was a lot of like romantic interactions between the characters. Felt more like comedic, because at the end, if I'm not going to spoil anything, but I feel like it's more or less like the girls are in love with him, and he's kind of like spread between them. I think the point of this kind of story, I'm pretty sure it was a light novel, but the point of those stories is to create a harem genre, and then from the harem you can have the audience kind of imagine who they want the main character to finish with, and then write fan fictions. Essentially, it's kind of author to fan interaction that Japan has a lot with, especially with light novels. If you think about light novels like Sword Art Online, like No Game No Life, those have a lot of opportunities. Even like High School DxD, like those are light novel for guys who, with the objective that the fans are going to kind of imagine their own ending almost. Kami-sama Kiss. Oh, welcome Martin. Welcome Laura. Don't forget. Welcome Caroline. Don't forget to comment your favorite romance story or romance manga in the comment section. So, Kami-sama Kiss, that was really great. That was so funny. I watched like the first few episodes on Funimation, and it's less romantic than I hoped for, because I feel like even if they kiss at some point, I don't really feel like they have a lot of attraction from the beginning. Maybe that changes later on. I hope so, because I think they will be very cute together. But yeah, that's a really fun manga. So yeah, back to it. Welcome Bruno. So yeah, back to it. So first, the shoujo genre. Okay, shoujo is basically young girl, so it addresses young girls, and we can find mostly stories where there's like one young girl that is the main protagonist and she likes a guy, or there's this one guy that is super hot that she's the only one who doesn't like him, and then she ends up with him at some point in the story because of X reason. Some stories that I could mention would be like Good Morning Call, if some of you knows it, or I think it's the Black Prince and the Wolf Girl. Those would be typical shoujo. And also, of course, Kaicho wa Maid-sama. Okay, that one I think everyone knows it, or everyone who likes shoujo like kind of knows it because it's just so popular. But Kaicho wa Maid-sama is probably like one of the bigger success of the last decade when it comes to shoujo genre. Welcome, and Anne-Julie Tremblay. And don't forget to comment in the comment section your favorite romance manga. Okay, so after the shoujo genre in general usually has stories that are focused around romance and takes place in either like university or like high school. But where something changes is the magical girl shoujo genre. Okay, this one usually happens at middle school or junior high school. I don't know how you call it, or like elementary school settings for some of them. If you think about Shugochara, Madoka, for those who know, I'm not sure what grade Madoka is, but like it's very young. And then there's also like Cardcaptor Sakura, and then there's like a lot more. So Magical Girl is basically Japan's version for superhero, but like for girls. And it's usually the romance is not the main plot. Like there is romance that is present, that is impossible to ignore, because the main girl is always going to be in love with that guy. But the romance usually does not take a lot of place in the story, because we want the girl to evolve into a mature girl. And by the way, oh, hold on. You said welcome Dave Patrice, welcome Sulu Ali. So yeah, Tintery Bird Never Fly. Is that a yaoi? I don't remember it. Like, I have to look it up. Okay, Twittering Birds Never Fly. Let's see if it's a yaoi. Okay, it's actually a yaoi, or boys love manga. Okay, yeah. I'm going to go over yaoi later, or like why, to explain maybe to guys why it works, because I think most of the readers are like girls. I don't think a lot of like gay guys actually read yaoi. I think it's mostly for a female audience, but I'm going to go over it after. So now we're going to go into the slice of life genre. Okay, slice of life is exactly the same as the normal shoujo. I mean, they're kind of the same, but a big difference here is that slice of life can be for both genre. For example, you can see manga like Gotobun no Hanayume, the quintessential quintuplets. I think that's what it's translated to in English. This manga, for example, is designed to be interesting for like both girls and guys. I think guys is the main audience of it, but it has tools to attract both because the design, the style of drawing is like more appealing to a female audience. I think it's so much more like soft, like the shapes. There's a lot of stars of bright colors that are supposed to be more appealing to a female audience. So yeah, slice of life is really simple. Actually, when you think about it, it's like there's so many stuff like Blue Haru Ride, for example. I'm pretty sure that's a slice of life. And then we have the harem. Okay, harems is where you actually start to target audience even more on a male basis. Okay, welcome Jocelyn Hébert. Don't forget to comment in the comment section your favorite romance manga. So yeah, what I mean by splitting is also that, let's say slice of life, shoujo, like those are more for girls, and then you have harem that are typically for guys. I will make a joke here, but it's not like exactly a joke because it has a certain degree of truth. But basically, okay, if you want to sell a romance manga to a girl, you must promise like content, activity, and like cute moments. But if you want to sell romance to guys, you just put everything like suggestive, and there you go. You can sell to guys, and that's that's actually kind of funny to say, but it's how it works. Yeah, like with a lot of isekai manga, like for example, I would not call it really romance, but like stuff like Konosuba, like Sword Art Online, for me it's definitely a isekai. Those, I mean, romance wise, SAO, okay, I would not call it very romantic for girls when it comes to it. I mean, if you're a girl and you like it, no problem. Really don't feel offended by what I say. I'm just saying that the way the couple, for example, between Kirito and Asuna in SAO is built, is made so that it's easier for the guy to identify as Kirito than for a girl to identify as Asuna, because Asuna is like kind of almost like an object of desire. She's like the girl of a very rich guy. She's like absolutely beautiful. She's like waifu material. This is, I think, maybe how you would call it. Oh, Laura, Yuna of the Dawn. Actually, can we really consider Yuna of the Dawn as a romance story? Because I feel like she may have like a very close friendship and princess to Varsal's moment with the other guys, and I mean, sure, a lot of people kind of ships Hack with Yuna, but I don't. I think that the story has like so much deeper stuff to tell than actually the romance of Yuna. I don't think like Yuna's priority is to get into a couple with any of them. So it's kind of, the romance is kind of background here. Welcome Eloy, welcome Guillaume. Don't forget to type in the comment section your favorite romance manga. But I would still say that Yuna of the Dawn is a very good plot for romance. If you look at the first episode, the first few chapters, there's definitely a lot of material for a romance story, especially with Suwon. But I guess that a lot of people hate Suwon, so I'm not going to spoil anything and enter too deep into it. And then, now it's time to talk about yaoi. Okay, yaoi or boys love is a huge genre. Okay, I originally planned to write this life mostly on straight relationships, but I think yaoi and yuri are really important nowadays, so I'm going to quickly go over them. But do know that in the other part where I'm going to explain how to like create a good plot, I'm not going to talk about yaoi plots, because I think yaoi are like a different type of story, and they require a lot of creativity. I would say I definitely think to make a good yaoi, you need more of a creative mind than actually a straight story, because you have to be able to imagine a lot more situation to make the story interesting, because yaoi is just because usually readers of yaoi, they are going to have read like a lot other yaoi stories, so if you want your story to be successful and interesting, you have to just make it different. Welcome Steph, welcome Vanessa. Don't forget to comment your favorite romance story in the comment section. I'm going to say that a lot today, sorry guys. For those who don't want to hear me repeat it, I'm really sorry, but this is really fun, I think, to get to know our tastes. So yaoi, why is yaoi working so well? Because especially since the audience is not even gay guys, you know, it's the audience is basically straight girls. That's the audience targeted. There's many theories of why it works better. My best bet would just be, you know, ask a girl. You know, that's that's very that would be my best bet. But I personally think that in a straight relationship, because you know it's set in usually a Japanese society. Japanese society has this kind of place of the society for both genders. For males, like men are supposed to do that, and women are supposed to do this, and this creates kind of a mold that it's extremely difficult to break, because if you break it, you break that mold, it becomes taboo. Like there's just a lot of stuff that can be considered taboo. Like, for example, a female teacher with a male student, that would be taboo as hell. But if you look at yaoi, I'm sure there's like at least 100 yaoi based on this kind of relationship. And there's also the fact that with yaoi you can get into a more explicit content easily, because you know there's like in Japan there's a lot of concept about, you know, protecting the girl's pure and innocence, you know. So you cannot, there's a certain amount of stuff that you cannot explore with female characters, but with guys you don't care about those. Okay, a male character, if you decide to, you can just bully them. You can just put them in extreme situation, extremely explicit situations, and it will still work, because you kind of go around the taboo. And that's like one of the reasons why I think with yaoi you have to be more creative, because you can't use all those tools. Yaoi relationship are considered to be taboo by themselves, because I don't think homosexuality is that hot in Japan yet. I think it's widely accepted, like in maybe some very liberal places like Shinjuku. But I don't think like society-wise, like homosexual couples really show themselves a lot in public. I think it's still like kind of maybe embarrassing for them, like because you know the society's gaze on them. So yaoi, from the start you already know that it's kind of taboo, so you're not scared to go into deeper kinky situation, deeper explicit content, deeper suggestive content, deeper abusive relationship. That's also a very important thing, is that if you think about an abusive situation between a guy and a girl, okay, unless maybe some like guys who are into abusive girlfriends, usually I don't think there's a lot of case where it is allowed for the guy to be extremely abusive, like violent with the girl in this story. Well, if it's two guys in a yaoi, is a bit easier to accept, actually, and a lot of the fans are even going to ship them regardless of this. Welcome, Emmanuel, by the way. So yeah, that's it about yaoi. For Yuri, I will say that it's a little bit the same case, but Yuri is not that popular among guys. I think guys are, in Japan especially, are more into straight content. So Yuri, I would say they are a bit more, sometimes more realistic, less into abuse, more into like confusion and sentiment. I think so. I would say definitely that the stories in the Yuri are probably closer to the reality of lesbian relationships in the Japanese society than what yaoi is to the gay relationships. Welcome, Ahmed. Don't forget to comment your favorite romance story in the comment section. Okay, now we only have 20 minutes left, so I'm going to go quickly over the 6 steps to how to write a good romance story. Okay, first, step 1, extremely important. Okay, if you want to write a story or make a manga or write a fan fiction, you have, unless you're doing it for yourself, you have to target a target audience. Are they like university or worker age, like mature adult? Are they teenagers, so high school, junior high school? Are they children? In that case, like elementary school, like let's say at the end of elementary school, because I think before that it will be a bit inappropriate, unless it's for comedic purposes. So yeah, the audience. Okay, the audience is something you want to choose. For example, if your audience is female, well, you know that you don't have to include a lot of explicit content. You don't have to make anything look sexy or too like suggestive. But you have to make everything beautiful. You have to make everything elegant. You have to make everything easy for the eyes to kind of look at. When you look at the drawing style of shoujo manga artists, it's always like really refined details, like the flowers, the clothing styles. They are always like in a very refined style, and that's the case ever since the beginning of shoujo manga, with some of the shoujo manga from the 70s, from the 80s. Shoujo manga has a very long history, and then you do have to promise this audience at least some cute content. Welcome, bud, Mark. It's good to see you again, Mark. So yeah, you have to promise a certain amount of cute and romantic content, like let's say spending time cuddling, hugs, kisses, exchanging gifts, doing like activities. Those are the stuff that you want to include if your target audience is female. And then now for guys, oh, Mark, don't forget to comment your favorite romance manga in the comment section. So for guys, it's very simple. Guys don't need as much to see like characters holding hands or cuddling. Okay, they want every situation to be suggestive. And what I mean by suggestive is that let's say that the guy somehow touches like a part of the girl's body, or just sees her underwears, or even in some case, like do any of you knows Bunny Girl Senpai? I think Bunny Girl Senpai is such a good example when it comes to targeting guys' fantasies, because at the end of the day, an audience that comes to read or watch a romance story wants to be sold some kind of dream, some kind of fantasy. So when you look at Bunny Girl Senpai, it's like the Mai Sakurajima is basically kind of femme fatale kind of character where she's beautiful, she's absolutely calm in most situations, and she's what's going to be our next step. We're going to talk about desirable. Okay, so once you've chosen your audience, let's say that it's girls or guys, well, your main character has to be a girl or a guy. Okay, it's very simple for your main character. If it's a girl, she has to be kind. She has to be a nice person. If it's a guy, he has to be boring. Okay, I'm sorry. That was a joke. But if it's a guy, he has to be kind of a little bit reclusive. Like, let's say he can be like kind of isolated from the society because of some previous problem, or he can be like seen as a reject or someone like less popular, because that's how most of the male audience who are going to read romance stories going to identify to. They feel like they're kind of less popular than most other guys, and yeah. Well, the guy should be mysterious if it's the object of desire of the girl. If your audience is a female audience, then the guy in the story, which is going to be our objective. For example, in Bunny Girl Senpai, the objective is to get the girl, basically, to get Mai Sakurajima to end and have a kind of happy ending with her. And then for the opposite, it's also the same. Like the guy has to be mysterious. If you look at Kaicho wa Maid-sama, for example, Takumi is super mysterious. You don't know nothing about him at the beginning. And those are supposed, like the guys and the girls who are supposed to end with the main character has to be desirable. So guys must be, okay, let's think about some criteria to make a guy desirable for the female audience. Okay, they have to be attractive. Like physically, they have to be attractive, taller than the girl most of the time. There's only one manga that I know where the guy is actually not as tall as the girl, and the entire story revolves around that. It's called Lovely Complex. By the way, this manga is, if you watch the anime Lovely Complex, the entire cast of that anime speaks Kansai-ban, so the Kansai dialect. You're going to hear a different, more like Osaka-bound Japanese language. If you study Japanese, you can actually watch it for that purpose too. But like most of the time, the guy is taller, and he must be something like actually tall. Something like 1.75 meters or above, even by Japanese standards. Then of course he has to be handsome, and he has to be talented. In most of the case, like he has to be like, he has to be good at stuff. He has to be at least good at something. Sometimes it can be sports, but I don't know a lot of romance story where the object of desire, the guy is like an athlete or something. Usually they're just like top of the class, or they're like rich, and I would suppose that's because that's the kind of desires of the Japanese society more than for Western turn tastes. So yeah, the guy ideally has to be surprisingly sweet at unexpected moments. That's really important, because if the guy is like super nice all the time and you don't expect like him to be mean, and he is mean, then it's going to be super weird. But if the guy is kind of cold and then he's suddenly like super nice, well, that creates a lot of good reaction, positive reaction from the audience. And yeah, power over kind, because you want the object of desire to be the alpha male, like, you know, the powerful leader of the pack of wolves. And when you think about it, for if your target audience is also for guys, well, the girl is also going to be that beautiful over kind. Like in most of the case, the girl who is the object of desire doesn't have to be kind. I mean, she is usually kind to the main character, but like she doesn't have to be like to have that trait as like her main personality, you know. While kindness is more of trait for the main character, so either the guy or the girl. So yeah, step 3, you have to plan an ending. Okay, ending planned is extremely important. You cannot thanks for your comments, by the way, Mark. But endings, actually you can improvise the ending, but it's not always going to be something very great. Well, if you know with who the girl is going to end up, or with who the guy is going to end up, you can actually create a lot more foreshadowing. You can create moments in the story where, you know, you slowly build toward that ending, instead of just, you know, creating a story and you don't know who they end up with. And at the end of the day, if it's planned, you have a lot more ways to make things make sense. Because even if it's a love story, even if people likes feelings, emotions more than actually logic, it has to make sense. Like the guy cannot just end with like a random girl like that, go to Bono Hanayome. It has to make sense at some point, because at the end of the day, a love story feels almost like a fan fiction. So it has to contain, like, the ultimate fan service is to have your main character and the character who is desirable end up together. Like that's the biggest fan service you can give to your audience at the end. Okay, step 4, you have to include rivals and obstacles. Okay, obstacles can be lies or social situation between the character. Like for example, in Black Prince and Wolf Girl, you can see that the obstacle is the fact that the guy really don't like the main girl. So, and he actually pretends to be her boyfriend because of his own reason. But the obstacle is that he kind of don't believe in love, and she has to kind of convince him, like kind of tame him, if you want. And that's, you know, the kind of obstacle. And rivals is really important, because welcome Melissa, by the way. Don't forget to comment your favorite romance manga in the comment section. So as I was saying, rivals in a love story, why is it important? Because it allows both the main character and the character who is the object of desire, so the love interest, let's call it love interest, is going to be much easier. Both the main character and the love interest can, like, kind of learn to value each other. Like, if you see that there's a chance that your love interest can end with the other person, well, you know, it's really it creates envy. It makes character jealous, and being jealous just makes a story much more believable, relatable, especially because when it comes to chasing after your crush. Okay, I think being jealous of every single person of opposite gender that approach your crush is an entirely normal thing. But then it also helps to create situation of rival where the love interest, usually it's more used by the love interest. Let's say that the main character is a girl and then the love interest is a guy and there's a rival who is another girl. Usually it allows actually a comparison between the rival and the main character, and by the way the love interests interact with the main character or with the rival, it's going to be absolutely different. There's going to be some confusing part where maybe it leads the audience to think maybe the rival has a better synergy, there's better chemistry between the rival and the love interest than with the main character. But there's going to be always one element that makes the main character more unique, more special for the love interest, and that is something that you have to really work on if you want your story to be satisfying. Welcome, Lohi. And then step 5, we only have 5 minutes left, guys. It's so sad, but like there's only 2 steps left. So step 5, you have to make your story complicated. Essentially, stories must never be simple. You have to end, like, let's say that you make it in a manga or a novel format. You're going to write chapters. Your chapters has to end with cliffhangers. Your manga chapters too, they have to end with situations that makes the audience want to read more. Well, I mean, it's a rule for any kind of manga, but in the love story it's very important because you may lose audience if you don't do it regularly enough. And also that's maybe one of the only things that actually matters and makes romance manga interesting, is the fact that you have complicated situation. And complicated situation, we can talk about, let's say, secrets of characters. You can talk about their parents not wanting them to see each other, or you can even talk about some other stuff, like the character has I don't know, like doesn't have time to see each other, so they don't know how each other feels about, and then you can create a lot of confusion. You have to assume always in your story that every information is available when you show a character give that information to another one, but that same information can be something that the main character does not know about. Like by playing with some characters knows some stuff, like for example, there's one manga I've read recently, I forgot the name, but basically the main character, the girl, was jealous of her love interest hanging out with another girl, just to discover later that that other girl is his sister, and that they were just having fun, between siblings without any romantic feeling or anything. They were just hanging out together in the streets and going to shop together as a family. This kind of complicated situation, and you have to be creative because there's so many complicated situation that has already been written as romance stories, so you have to create your own stuff for it. So yeah, making everything complicated. Nothing should be clear as water, especially in romance stories, because you want to keep the people hooked to your story. So you want to keep as much elements mysterious as possible. And then last step is really maybe the most important, that if you fail at including this step, your romance story may look like very boring at the end. And this step is the weakness of the characters, especially the main characters. They have to have weak and desperate moments, because nobody likes to see a romance story where everyone is smiling, or at least a bit like, feeling a bit like not amused all the time, without ever being angry or sad or being in tears. Okay, So you have to create situation where both like not at the same time, but both the main character and the love interest, they both has to be vulnerable, desperate, like really, really down at some point. Not only for the reason of comfort, but actually this kind of weakness convinces your audience that your couple is legit, that those two has to end up together because they can support each other. And being in a couple, I think the most important thing is that when one of the two is feeling down, the other has to be able to comfort the other one, to support them, to help them go through the difficult moments. So for that, you have to create difficult life situations for both the main character and sometimes the love interest, so that they feel down, they are in need of someone. And story-wise is just so important because it also makes your love story different than something that is boring, bland, where nothing interesting happens. Because something happens, you know, your characters are mentally like down, your characters are in need of someone. I think most of the audience, the readers, also can relate to those situations of feeling weak, of feeling vulnerable, of feeling lonely, of feeling that they need someone. And at the end of the day, if you can give them what they want, at least in a story, I think they are going to be happy. I think that this is why people tell stories to each other, to be fascinated by what we can share, actually, you know. And of course, you can include some comedy content, some stuff of your own personal experience, like if you've been to some place that's amazing, like to Paris or to Japan, well, you can include like a trip to those places between your characters, but that's like just a small bonus. So yeah, I'm going to end it here for today. Thanks everyone for following us for this live. But before going, I'm going to actually give talks to you guys about my favorite love story. It's not in a manga though. My manga wise, I don't really have a favorite, but fiction wise, my favorite love story is Meteor Garden. Meteor Garden. Okay, it's a TV series that you can find on Netflix, because I think it's so cliche, but over the span of like, I think it has 40 episodes or something, it's just, it gets more interesting the more you watch it. You know, it after each episode you're hooked to, and you want to see what happens next. And I think the main character, the guy, is really handsome, so I think this one is more addressed to a female audience. But so yeah, I would really suggest. Is it the same as Boys Over Flowers? I think Boys Over Flowers, I think it's the Japanese version, but Meteor Garden, the Chinese version, is really like, this one is really high quote noted. Like, its notes, like its performance, it's been reviewed, and like it's just crazy how much this one is like special compared to a lot of other, even compared to K-drama. And but yeah, I think the story is very similar, at least in genre. But I'm pretty sure, yeah, that Boys Over Flowers, it's like the Japanese name for it. But that the Japanese are, you know, media also made their own version. There's also a Korean version, I think. But the one that you can find with the Chinese actors, that happens in Shanghai, I think that one is the one that was able to get the spotlight the most out of all of them, and for good reason. I think the actors are really great. I think the setting, you're also going to, you know, see what it looks like in Shanghai, in a city that we as Westerners, we don't see very often. So I think it's really worth the ride. And I think script wise, because you know, even if it's the same about the same story, when it comes to writing one episode script, it's always going to be different depending on which director of production is going to make it. So this can like change your experience of watching it like by a far margin. So yeah, that's it. So yeah, to conclude this, I would like to invite you guys Friday next week to my my next live, which is going to be the last one for the month of February. I'm going to talk about Hayao Miyazaki and why and who is he, what he did for the anime industry, why is he so important, and why he is not that much of a fan of anime in general. Okay, it's going to be very fun. All right. Well, see you soon, guys. Take care.